In physics, a ghost is a signal that persists after its source is gone. Many people describe a similar experience as soul sickness, a recurring sense that something is fundamentally wrong with them. But what if nothing is broken? What if something within you is simply holding information it hasn't yet been allowed to release? Let's begin with something that matters. Pain is real, trauma is real, and suffering is not a failure of character, faith, or awareness. If you've ever felt anxious without a clear reason, sad without a story, or exhausted in ways rest doesn't seem to touch, there is nothing invalid about that experience. For most of human history, spiritual traditions understood this intuitively. They spoke of wounds carried in the soul, of memories that linger beyond conscious thought, of patterns passed through bodies, families, and time. Modern science didn't replace those ideas, it gave them a different language. In physics and information theory, a ghost isn't something supernatural, it's residual data, a signal that continues to echo long after the original event has passed. Your nervous system works the same way. When an experience overwhelms your ability to process it, the system doesn't discard it, it stores it. Not as a story, not as emotion, but as information. This is why trauma doesn't always feel emotional. Sometimes it feels mechanical, predictable, repetitive. You respond the same way, feel the same tension, enter the same patterns. Even when your conscious mind knows you're safe now. That isn't weakness. That is a system doing exactly what it was designed to do. There's something most healing conversations skip. Your system does not hold pain because it enjoys suffering. It holds pain because it does not yet trust that the environment has changed. From a biological perspective, the nervous system is predictive. It doesn't wait for danger, it anticipates it. From a spiritual perspective, this has always been understood. The soul was described as vigilant, protective, watchful. Different languages, same intelligence. When something overwhelming happens, the system marks it as relevant for survival, and survival relevant data is never deleted automatically. This is why time alone doesn't heal trauma, and why moving on rarely works. The system isn't stubborn, it's loyal. Spiritual traditions describe the soul as a living field, one that remembers, responds, and adapts. Physics describes information fields, systems that store data as patterns rather than narratives. Think of the soul not as a thing you possess, but as a field you inhabit. Every experience, joy, shock, loss, leaves information behind, not to punish you, not to trap you, but to keep you alive. The mistake happens when we argue which language is correct. Inner physics isn't here to replace the soul with the brain or to reduce mystery to mechanics. It's here to translate. There's a crucial difference between remembering and reliving. Memory is narrative. Reliving is physiological. You can know that something is over and still feel your body respond as if it's happening now. That doesn't mean you're stuck. It means the information was stored outside of language. This is why insight alone can feel incomplete, and emotion alone can feel endless. Healing begins when memory is allowed to move from a survival circuit into an integrated one, not erased, integrated. In spiritual language, this is often called returning energy to the present. In scientific language, it's called reconsolidation. Again, different words, same doorway. You didn't inherit pain, you inherited information, waiting for a new signal. In quantum physics, observation doesn't judge a system, it stabilizes it. When something remains unobserved, it repeats. When it is seen clearly, it reorganizes. Pain does not persist because you focus on it. It persists because the system hasn't yet received accurate information that the event has ended. When pain is recognized as an echo, rather than a present danger, the interference pattern changes, not because you forced it, but because clarity arrived. Compassion is not optional. Compassion is often treated as emotional kindness. At the system level, compassion is accuracy. A system cannot update information if it feels under threat. Judgment, especially self-judgment, keeps the ghost active, not because you're doing healing wrong, but because judgment signals danger. This is why force never works. Awareness without urgency is the condition under which systems reorganize themselves. This is true in physics. This is true in biology. This is true in the soul. For many people, the first sign of healing isn't joy. It's relief, the relief of realizing you were never broken, that the repetition wasn't a personal flaw, that the heaviness wasn't a failure to evolve. It was information, waiting to be seen clearly, waiting to be met without fear, waiting to be released from the job of protecting you. When that happens, something subtle shifts. The ghost no longer needs to knock. If what you've been carrying is information, not a flaw, then healing doesn't require fixing yourself. It requires changing the conditions under which the system is allowed to update. There are 3 conditions that consistently allow this. First, name the signal without interpreting it. Not something is wrong with me, but a signal is activating. Naming without meaning creates distance without denial. Second, separate time from sensation. Introduce orientation gently. This sensation belongs to a past moment. The environment is different now. This updates the system's timestamp, and systems respond to timestamps. Third, observe without urgency. Urgency signals danger. Observation signals safety. You don't watch sensations to make them disappear. You watch them to let the system complete a process it never got to finish. Pain is real. Repetition is informational. Healing is not force, it's clarity. Corrupted data doesn't need to be erased. It needs to be seen accurately. When signals are named without judgment, when time is reintroduced, when observation replaces urgency, the system updates itself. Not because you tried harder, but because you stopped misreading the signal. When a system receives accurate data, it doesn't struggle to heal. It recalibrates, and so do you. If you want to understand the mechanics of being and the science of your own soul, you're already in the right place. Inner physics, where science meets potential.